What do you got, Coach? 3 things that all coaches need.
Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of coaches?
New York or the Aces? Definitely going with the Aces.
All right, 4th down. Who has the tougher job, coaches or officials? If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? For Texas, it's different.
Welcome back, everybody. We are live on Instagram this morning and live on Twitch. So if you're joining us now or if you're joining us later, man, huge thank you. Today, we're doing something great today. All right, listen, this is the Coaches Co-op, where coaches connect, grow, and share the grind. I'm Michael Prejean, your host, better known as Coach P. Each week, I'm teaming up with coaches across the country to break down the wins, the lessons, and everything in between. This week, I'm teaming up with Chip Baker of the Success Chronicles. Let me tell you a little something about Chip Baker, if you don't already know. I'm talking about a brother who is a 4th-generation educator. He has been a teacher and coach for over 25 years. He is a multiple-time best-selling author. How many books? Not 1, not 5, not 10, not 15, not 20, but 26 books. He is a YouTuber and podcaster and transformational speaker. Chip Baker is the creator of the YouTube channel and podcast, Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles, where he interviews people from all walks of life and shares their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. Whether you are watching or listening, put your virtual hands together or your real hands for the Chip Baker. Chip, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Man, with that intro, Coach, let's go.
Let's get it. All right, Chip, this is what we're going to do.
Yes, sir.
All right. We have a segment called Talk That Talk. Okay, so I want to give you the opportunity to talk that talk. What we normally do is, for coaches, I give them the opportunity to talk that talk about everything going on in their program, everything going on in their community, in their building. With the Success Chronicles, you have had the opportunity to traverse many landscapes. So with what you've experienced and done in your coaching and teaching career, as well as through the Success Chronicles, Chip Baker, talk that talk.
Man, Coach, it's been a blessing. It's been a huge blessing. Like you said, I've just finished my 26-year of education, coach for 20 years. About 9 years ago, I started my YouTube channel, podcast, The Success Chronicles. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories, like you said, for positive inspiration and motivation. And it's truly been a blessing. Just initially started, I just had a burning desire to share some positivity, shine some light on the great people that are doing great things that I've been blessed and fortunate to be around. And it's just grown far past anything I ever thought it would be. Get to interview people that we watch on Sundays, play sports, professional sports, or we listen to their music, or we read their books, and so it's been a huge blessing. And so about to release episode 430. Have a few more though. Yeah,
Let's
Coach,
go.
it's crazy. It's about to drop episode 430, and got a few more in the vault to drop as well. But it's been a cool journey, and I love just having conversations to learn. I love sharing, like I say, positive vibes, and I don't know, it's been cool. It's been a blessing.
Outstanding. So if you look at the bottom of the screen here, so this is where you can connect with Chip Baker. Chip, I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, all my social media is at chipbakertsc, except for X, and that's chipbaker19. And so, whatever your um, social media choice is of your liking, it's out there. I don't want to be any excuse for you not to get this positive inspiration and motivation. So it's all out there. Go check it out.
There it is. There it is. All right, Chip. You said episode 432?
4:30, dropping. Gonna
430.
drop real soon. Yeah.
Man, listen, congratulations. That
Yeah,
is
thank you so
outstanding.
much.
Listen, there is no, we know this. There's no substitute for the work.
Facts.
There's no substitute for the work. You just got to get
Yeah.
out there and you got to get it. Again, I am Coach
Yeah.
P. I am the host of the Coaches Co-op. In the co-op today, we have Chip Baker of the Success Chronicles. He just talked that talk. So, Chip, let's talk about you a little bit. So,
Mhm.
almost 3 decades in education. Almost 3 decades
Yeah.
in education. You're a fourth generation educator. Now, not everybody in education decides that they want to be a coach. So,
Mhm.
how old were you when you knew you were going to go into education, and also when you decided that coaching was your calling?
Oh man, I was probably in high school. I mean, like I said, I'm a fourth generation educator, so I knew that the service piece of giving service, being around educators, helping others, I knew for sure that that would be a part of it. But I really got the bug for sports. 'Cause I played 4 sports for 4 years in high school. I really got the bug for it probably like my freshman or sophomore year in high school. And so I knew at that moment, man, I got to be a part of something like this for the rest of my life, And so I just saw the true joy and true pleasure that it brought me. And I saw the amazing people that I was able to be around, like as a young guy, junior high, young high school, and just I learned so much from those great people, and then it just continued to elevate, as I went on and got into my career. But when I was a young guy, I knew, and then I think once I saw like my sophomore junior year that I could take some of those things that I've learned and share those with others and help others. Oh man, that's when it was really on.
Chip, you said 4 sports. What 4 sports were you involved in?
Yeah, I played football, basketball, baseball, and track.
Okay. So
Hmm.
which one? So this is real interesting. Okay, this is real
Yeah,
interesting because in a day and age where parents, I'm gonna start with parents first. When parents and kids think
I
that
know
they
where you're
need to
going.
specialize,
I know where you're going. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Four different sports, right? So how did you manage that? How did you manage 4 sports?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out, Coach P. I was tired. No, no, it was, and it's funny that you asked me that because I told a group of that I spoke to just the other day. I talked to them about that. What I didn't know is at that time it was teaching me transferable skills that I would be able to take and use for the rest of my life. Right. So it taught me how to manage my time. It taught me how to focus in on what was important. It taught me how to prioritize. It taught me to value my time. Right. And I think those people that are hot, the difference between those that are doing good and those that are super highly successful is the ability to manage their time. And so, just like then, everything was in seasons, right? So I
Right.
knew when this block of this season was, I knew when it was going to end. I knew I need to gear up to prepare for this. I knew when that was going to go. I knew when that was going to end, right? And so in my life, it's the same way, right? To this day, like prime example is when I was coaching, during the fall, I coach football. I work 7 days a week. I can't do no podcast interviews, you know. And so I would do them ahead of time in the summer and then put them out in the fall. So those are just things that like just a little, some game, if you will, on like you have to be able to see ahead, when you're planning your time, know what your time windows are, know what you can, know what you can't do. know what your negotiables and your non-negotiables are, and then just work with that. And so, man, I am really structured, strict, and disciplined about my time. Don't waste my time. My time is important, right? And so, like, if I tell people I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be there early. I'm gonna give them my all, and then I'm gonna go do the next thing when I'm done with that. And so, I think that's what it's really taught me. But for the most part, it was a transferable skill as far as like time management that's really helped me be beneficial. And I think another thing too, Coach, I want to add in there is I was expected to be great at everything that I was in, right? So like from the house, my mom, single parent mom, disciplinary, my mama didn't play. It's like, boy, if you're
Yeah.
gonna do something, like give your all to it, or don't waste your time doing it. So, I was expected to have good grades, right? I was expected to, like, if you're gonna play a sport, like you need to be doing the extra stuff to make sure that you're great at it. And so that was my foundation, and I'm thankful to have that foundation.
That's good, man. You touched on something that some people who watch and listen to this will catch, but not everybody will. And you talked about the different seasons.
Hmm.
Okay, so when parents and kids focus on one sport year round, there are no seasons. Now we know, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna segue in just a second. Um,
Yeah.
but there's a time for there's seed time, there's harvest,
Come
and
on,
there's a
coach.
time that the ground has to lay fallow and rest.
Come on. Come on.
So some of y'all gonna catch that. Some of you won't
Come
catch
on.
it. For those of you who won't catch it, listen, let me go ahead and tell you what to do right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the screen right there. Man, y'all get at Chip Baker. Y'all get at Chip Baker. Okay. So if you need to get at me, go on and get at me. I'm down there on the bottom of the screen. Okay, Chip. Um, which one of those was your best sport?
Football.
Okay. What
Football was
position
my
you play?
thing. I played middle linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, were you out there handing out snot bubbles?
Man, if you just happen to have that ball in your hand, get ready.
Yeah, yeah.
Here it comes.
Free snot bubbles on Friday night.
Yeah,
Chip
it's going
Baker handing
down.
out free snot bubbles on Friday night. Man, listen, let we gotta go here. So for those of you who have not yet done so, or if you
Mm-mm.
don't know, let me put this on the
Mm-mm.
screen for you. You need this in your life.
Yes, sir.
You need this in your life. So this is the Path for Coaches Volume 1 mentoring. Okay. Down there at the bottom of the screen, you can go to Amazon.com and get this. I'm telling you, you see my bookmark. Okay. Y'all see
Coach.
my bookmark. You need
Coach.
this in your life. So this is what my dad said. My dad bought the book. My dad read it. He said, this is for more than just coaches.
Yeah.
He said, this is for people in any walk of life.
Yeah.
Chip, tell us about the book. Tell us about the genesis of the Path for Coaches, and then your process for selecting authors and different things like that. And then, and then after that, we'll talk about some of the meat of the book, actually
Yeah.
what's in it.
Yeah. So I think the book is The Path for Coaches Mentoring. And ultimately the visionary authors, Coach Jacinto, Coach Armando Jacinto, and I, former AD at Spring ISD, amazing guy. Grateful to have crossed paths with him. um, we'd always talk and about where we are in the profession, right? And
Mhm.
so we've always had great people to look out for us and help help us with our path, if you will, to guide us along that path. And we just felt that it's really really needed more today and where we are in the profession. And so we're like, hey, how cool would it be to do a book, but more so a book, but a book series as far as the path to help coaches. And so this is the first one in the series of the path for coaches mentoring. And we picked mentoring first because mentoring is so important. Let me give them that again, coach. Mentoring is so important. And so
So I'm gonna
uh
throw the follow up in there. How important is it?
oh coach, man, it's like um you know, I just give this example. You have those people around you that just like know what's going on, right? But it
Mhm.
comes from experience and reps. At the time, we don't know that. But you say, hey, when you go down this path, um, turn left by the green car, the third one over there, turn left, don't go right, because if you go right, you're gonna fall in the hole. you
Right.
know, and so like I don't know that because I've never traveled that path, but they do. And so life coaching, pick something. Like you said, your father said, pick any career, everyone needs a mentor to guide and help them with their path. So it's so important. And so we started with this one first, and it's just so many great gems and nuggets in the book that just like you said, I do the same thing, coach. Like, I pieced the book together, and we, brought it all together, but I go back and actually read and highlight and take notes
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
from the people that's in it, because this man is so good, coach. Like just the I don't know, that so much knowledge, so much gain, the experience. I mean, you think about the authors that's in the book, all of the accomplishments that they've achieved, and they're sharing those nuggets in the book. And so it's really good. It's a really good read. It dives deep into what mentoring is, the benefits of mentoring. And then we share stories about mentors that we've been blessed to have in our life.
Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the screen again. Okay.
Hmm.
So y'all go ahead. I'm telling you, I am, if you know me, if you trust me, you know that I will not steer you wrong. So
Yeah,
this book needs to be on your shelf. Now, I consider myself a reader. I don't know if you can see my shelf back here behind me with all these books back here, but I read for help, right? I'm not a big TV guy. Every now and then I'll catch a movie. I'll watch a series. I'm not really a binge watching guy. Um,
mm,
I tend to TV for entertainment, but I read for help. I
come on.
read for help. And I'm telling you, this book is going to help you no matter
Yeah.
what walk of life you're in. I want to share this from your story. I just want to share just one little nugget, because Chip told us mentoring is important. So here's the
Yeah.
quote that he leads off with. A mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself and helps bring it out of you. That's one of the many reasons why mentoring is so important. You can see on the back cover here, these are all the authors that contributed to the book. So tap in. If you haven't done it now, it's not too late. It's not
Yeah.
too late. It's never too late. So Chip, who was one of your first mentors?
I think one of my first mentors for me started at the house with my first coach, my single parent mom. Right.
Yeah,
I tell people, um, man, I was raised with a superhero in my house. And
outstanding. Love it.
and like like not just saying, hey, I expect this of you, you're supposed to do this. This is how you do that. But she walked the talk, right? Like she was one, first a black lady on the city council in my town, did so many programs for kids, brought that to our town. Longtime educator, one of those that even, when she was retired, she didn't stay away from the school, one of those people. And so, just ultimate, minister of music in our church, so church folk and educators. And so, man, just the ultimate life of service. And so, like, we would go places and I would see people see her and I would see them just smile.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
man. And like she wouldn't even see them or like not even speak. Eventually, she would speak or, acknowledge them or whatever. But like I would see people like just see her and smile. Right. And that means that she made a difference in their life.
It's good
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. And so man, I wanted to operate in a manner to make her and my family proud. And so that was kind of the first sign of that. And then from there, she was intentional about making sure that I was around some great people that could teach me. And I was so fortunate in my community to have little league coaches, basketball coaches, my pastor, Reverend R.C. Gentry. Then you get into the school, just great teachers that believed in me, like that quote said, even when I may not have believed in myself. Um, they put in the extra time with me, coaches throughout, and then, just compounded, once I got into my, well, college was great, great teammates, and then of course into the career, it's crazy the smart, good-hearted, golden people that you come across in your career.
There's no doubt in my mind that we are members of the absolute greatest service
Coach, yeah.
industry. I'm not even going to call it a profession.
No, right.
Service industry, right? Just
Yes, sir.
the opportunities that we get to serve,
Yes.
right? And similar to this podcast, I get better every day because of the people that I get to come across. And I'm talking about the young people as well as the adults. You are watching or listening to the Coaches Co-op. My name is Michael Prejean, better known as Coach P. I'm your host. Today we have Chip Baker. I'm interviewing the man who does the interviews. It is such an honor to have you in the co-op with us, Chip. All right. So I want to point this out before we move forward. So you've been throwing some words out there. I don't even want to say throwing. You've been very intentionally,
yes, sir. Come on,
mentioning some words. So this is where, if you're watching or listening and you missed it, this is the point in the podcast where I want you to rewind and go back and write some of these words down. So I wrote down 3 words that I think are very, very specific to your path. You talked about discipline.
yes, sir.
You talked about structure.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about intentionality. Discipline, structure, and intentionality. And I want to point out that you can't play 4 sports without discipline, structure, and intentionality. You can't become a best-selling author, 26 books, without discipline, structure, and intentionality. You don't get to podcast episode number 430 without discipline, structure, and intentionality. And if you are watching and listening and you need to up your game, you need to be more disciplined, you need to improve your structure, you need to be more intentional on what you do.
Boom.
There it is. For those of you who are listening, I'm holding up the book, The Path for Coaches, Volume 1, Mentoring. All right, Chip. So I'm looking at your questionnaire. So we're talking about mentoring. You mentioned some people, you've done coaching and teaching. So I want to ask you about your Mount Rushmore of coaches. You got some great names here. So I want you to tap into that a little bit and then tell us why you chose each of those individuals. Floor is yours.
I just think my Mount Rushmore would be, I think first up, I chose Coach Jimmy Reeder. He was my senior year. He was my high school head coach. And he was there throughout my high school career. He was an assistant coach. He was that coach on the staff that you could tell he just loved what he did every day. You know, he showed up every day, worked hard with a smile on his face,
Yeah.
had a good time. I mean, you could tell that he absolutely loved what he did. And he was the first person that showed me that it was okay to smile and just enjoy what you do. Right? I don't have to show up and be grumpy and like, now we're gonna have a good time, but we're gonna work hard. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna have a good time working hard. you know. And so he was the first person to show me that it was okay to do that. And I've strived to do that in my career and in my life as well. And it's funny because like sometimes I see some of those things that he did. I see myself doing those things. I catch myself doing that, and it's a blessing. Then I'll go to just overall, of course you got to go Tony Dungy in there from Mount Rushmore. And I picked him because um, I love who he is. I love what he stands for. I love what he's about. Quiet strength, this title of his book. That's what comes to mind for me. And just like you said with your books, I'm an avid reader as well. I used to be really avid reader until I got more busy with all the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that book sits beside the Bible on my bookshelf, right? And so Tony Dungy, Nick Saban, I'm a big football guy, and when you talk about discipline, structure, and intentionality, I think that he's the prototype for that, right? Because
Amen.
of
I
that.
agree with that. I
Yeah,
definitely.
and then of course, Belichick, and I just think because he's a brainiac with it, right? Like I've always strived to be um have a reason and a purpose for everything we do, right? So you understand the why behind it because I believe that it makes you work harder because you know why you're working harder, right? It's for
Right.
a
Right.
purpose. You know what the end goal is. Like we're just not just showing up, just flying by the seat of our pants. Like we're gonna do these drills Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because on Friday this is what it's for, right? You're gonna be in a position where you're gonna have to do this, right? So we're gonna prepare right now on Monday to be the best we can on Friday. And the bigger picture is for later down the road, right? So building those core fundamentals. And when I think of like core fundamentals, and you think about like people say he's a brainiac, but really like when you look at the game, it's like crossing routes, matching, taking advantage of mismatches, like it's just simple things like that.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
it's brainiacs. Run everybody off so we can run the draw, like so I think Belichick is my other that goes on there.
Coach, that's a good list. I think what
Mhm.
many people miss is that what we do in education, because coaching is part of education. We don't
Yes,
want people to lose sight of that. What we do
no doubt.
there's a science to it, definitely, but there's also an art to it. Some of the game,
Mhm.
some of the game has to be based on feel.
Yeah.
So of course, we gather information so that we can make decisions, right? That's the analytic part of the game. So we can make decisions, but some of the game is about feel, right? And
Ooh,
it's about feel because you built relationships.
come
You
on,
built those
coach.
relationships, and then there's some, you know what? I need to put Chip in right here. Coach, that he's not our best guy right here. No, I'm telling you, Chip is ready for this one. So there's an
Yeah.
art and there's a science to it. And I think that list, I'm so glad that you mentioned Coach Jimmy Reeder, one of your high school coaches, because that's impact. That's impact right there. And then Tony Dungy, Nick Saban. I'm a basketball guy, but when I tell you
Mhm.
I have so much stuff from Nick Saban
Yeah.
because I want to be disciplined, structured, and intentional in everything that we do. And then Belichick,
Yeah.
one of the greatest X and the O's guys that has
And
ever been out there.
and coach, if you don't mind, I want to throw a bonus in there too for me.
Go ahead,
Just
coach,
as you
do
were
it.
saying it, like I loved how you said, I'm a basketball guy, but Nick Saban is on there, right? And so, like I
Yeah,
said, I'm a football guy. So, like a lot of like the guys that I mentioned are football guys, but I had a basketball coach that in high school that was phenomenal. Bobby Carson is his name. I want to make sure I say his name. And coach, man, we went from in my hometown from the time I was in 8th grade to like my second year in college. We didn't lose a district basketball game.
Wow.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. From the time I was in junior high to the time like my second year in college in my home at my high school, we didn't lose a district basketball game. And
Wow.
yeah, when I was in junior high, they played against Shaq in a state tournament. And so yeah, and so just I mean just those kind of people. But what I remember about him is that he was a stickler for fundamentals,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we triple threat, we V cut, we front the cutter. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. We mic and drill, like all of those, we like your drill, with like the fundamentals of all of those things. And like I'm a football guy, right? But I still remember those things, right? And that's an appreciation, right? For you, right?
Yes.
And that you know how long ago that was, but that yeah, like it shows that like it made a difference, right? Like just being great at the fundamentals, it helps you shine. And so like you said, the feel. I love how you said that. It gave me chills when you said that because it is a feel, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
but but you have to have the fundamentals first to be able to set you up to get to the feel, right? To feel your
Yes.
way through, so you know when to use those tools at what time. Right. And so like the best thing I love about him is like, he had all those schemes where you know, screen, backdoor cut, like I mean just some different things like that's just amazing. So yeah, I want to make sure I mention Coach Carson too, because he was
Listen,
a beast with it.
what people don't realize, well, let me say it this way, because I can't speak for all people. But what I know is when we talk about discipline, structure, intentionality, older coaches, you go to
Mhm.
coaches clinic, and these coaches who have been doing it for 25, 30 years, and you go and listen to them and they start talking about fundamentals, right? And sometimes as a young coach, you're like, oh, listen, the longer I coach,
That's
Chip,
boring.
but listen, that if you don't have the foundation of
Yeah.
fundamentals, which is all about discipline, structure, and
Culture and
intentionality,
intention. Yes, sir.
don't worry about winning at a high level. I guarantee you, all of those wins from junior high, not one district loss from the time you were in junior high to the second year in college. Listen, that's discipline, structure, and
Coach.
intentionality. I don't care how much
Mhm.
talent you have. If those fundamentals aren't sound,
Coach.
it'll be tough on you. It'll be tough on you. Listen,
And
we
check
are.
check
Go
this
ahead,
out,
coach.
coach. I want to throw this out there. You talk about fundamentals. So as a coach, we learn. We're always students. Always students
Always.
of the game. Always want to be better. Always want to be the best version of ourselves. And so, when the Texans, when they, first, got to, the Texans, or the first few years they did this camp where like during training camp where high school coaches would come out and watch practice. And I've been at all levels of practice, right? And I was an O-line coach, so I'm really like fundamentals. That's my thing, right? We're
Hmm.
gonna break down the fundamentals, right? Like we're going as an O-line coach, like I'm a fundamental you to death, right? But man, I started in junior high. I was an O-line coach for a long time, in high school head coach. um, have watched practices, been in practices, learned from some of the best in the game. In college, big time college ball as well as pro. I've been blessed to be around some pro people, and I can remember this. This is what turned a switch for me on the fundamental piece right here, coach. So, when I was coaching in junior high, there was some footwork drills that we did on a day-to-day basis when I was
Hmm.
coaching in junior high, right? And
Hmm.
then I got to go to the high school level, and I watched some of those high school coaches that I learned from, and the same footwork fundamental drills they advised me to do as a high school coach, right? And I did those same every day, same footwork, fundamental drills, right?
Yep.
Then I go and I sit in O-line, and at U of H and get to talk to the offensive coordinator from UT and the O-line guy at USC and those kind of things. And coach, I'm watching on videotape from these guys. It's the same drill that we
Same
did
stuff.
in junior high, right? So then now, I'm at like the Texans practice, right? And I'm looking, I'm like, man, there's some big old jokers out there moving around, right? Bro, they doing the same footwork drills. Now,
Big
of
old
course, it
dancing
looks a
bears
lot
out there.
better. And it's bigger dudes, right? But the core thing behind it, it's the same fundamental, right? It's the same fundamental things. So that was the switch for me to see, well, yeah, that footwork must be important then. you know,
Listen, as a basketball guy,
coach.
listen, coaches, basketball coaches, go get those O-linemen.
Oh boy.
I'm telling you right now, basketball coaches, go get
Yes,
those
sir.
offensive linemen.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
care
sir.
if that O-lineman is 5'11", 240. Go and put him down there on the
Coach.
block.
He
Put him
gonna
on
do
the block
everything
from the
right.
block to the free throw line because his
He-
footwork is going to be immaculate.
Yep. He gonna do everything right. You tell him once and he got it. If he make a mistake, you correct him. He won't make that mistake again.
Listen,
Ever.
don't basketball coaches, don't listen. I know the game is going to skill and all. Listen, there's no substitute for the fundamentals. You are tuned into the Coaches Co-op. My name is Coach P. I'm here with the one and only Chip Baker. He of 26 bestsellers, getting ready to record podcast episode number 430. Make sure you check him out on YouTube, Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles, and check out his latest book, The Path for Coaches, Volume 1, Mentoring. All right, Chip, we're almost to crunch time, but we're going to switch gears here. We're going to do a little agree or disagree. So I'm going to throw some things at you, and you're going to tell me whether you agree or disagree. So I got a couple of versions here for you. I have like a seasoned coach version.
Come on.
And then I also have a version for like motivational speakers. So I'm going to blend these questions together for you. Are you ready?
That's good. Let's get it.
All right, Chip, here we go. First question, agree or disagree? Coaching after 20 years means evolving your style without losing your core principles. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Okay. Agree or disagree? Sharing your personal story is the most powerful way to connect.
Oh, agree. Yes, sir.
Okay. I already know the answer to this one, but I'm going to go ahead and ask. Books are a vital way for reaching more people.
Amen, brother.
There it is. There it is. All right.
Agree.
Agree or disagree? A coach without a growth mindset won't last long in this business.
Big facts. Agree. Have to continue to grow.
Gotta grow. Okay. Here we go. Agree or disagree? The best speakers are made, not born.
Agree, because that goes along with the growth mindset. You have to continue to grow and work on your craft.
Good. All right. And then here's our last question right here. It's important to have a signature message.
Agree.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead. This is coming back later, but I'm gonna drop it now, and then we're gonna come back to it later as we're talking about signature messages. All right. That was a little bit of agree, disagree with Chip Baker. Okay, Chip, let me ask you this. If you could be anything other than a coach, teacher, or author, what would you be?
Something with giving service to others. And that could be mentoring. That's my jam. Working in a group home with kids. Something where I was giving service to others, because I know I learned a long time ago in my life, it's bigger than me. It's not about me.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yes, sir.
All right, now, Chip, we're going to go ahead and walk into crunch time here. So
Okay.
crunch time consists of a 3, 2, 1. All right. If you don't know what crunch time is the final 5 minutes. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1. That's 3 in the key, 3 things that all coaches need. Then we'll go 2 shots. You can tell I'm a basketball coach here. 2 of the foulest things that you've experienced as a coach. And then the last thing is and 1. One thing that can be anything that you want to share before we exit. So we're going to start with 3 in the key. Chip, share with us 3 things that all coaches need.
I think for me, 3 things that all coaches need, I think, is they need a mentor. Um, um, that's like the book, The Path for Coaches. They need a mentor. I think they need reflection time. In order to have growth, you have to have reflection time on, okay, hey, I did this well. Ooh, I wasn't so good at that. And so now that allows you to move forward with your growth. And then we have to have a support system and a team to be with us. And I say that because during the season, those coaches that have families, we see other people's kids more than we see our own kids,
True
right? And so
story.
you have to have a family, you have to have a support system that really understands the sacrifice of what it takes. And everything is a team, right? No significant success is achieved alone. So everything is a team. So you have to have a support system and a team.
That's it. 1 is too small of a number to achieve
Hmm.
anything of significance. That's from
Yeah.
the 17 indisputable laws of teamwork. That's good stuff right there. 3 in the key.
Yes, sir.
3 things all coaches need. We're going to run them back for you. Brother Chip said you need a mentor,
Hmm.
need reflection time so that you can continue to grow, and you got to have a support system or a team. All right, this brings us to the two shots. Almost 3 decades as a coach. What are 2 of the foulest things you've experienced in that almost 3 decades?
Oh man, just I've witnessed like an opposing coach or whatever laughing or demeaning, some of my athletes, right? And I think that what we do, we're developing kids, and it's important to understand that and know that like we are the example. And so how we act and carry ourselves is how the kids around us will act and carry themselves. So we have to hold ourselves accountable first. And so I think that was one of the first things that I've seen. And then I think the second thing is just disrespect. Right. I'm a real easy guy, man. I'm a laid back guy. I ain't bothering nobody. Ain't nobody gonna bother me.
Yeah,
Right. But I'm real easy. I'm not gonna disrespect people. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna show respect first. If you show me different, I'll go with you. We can go there if you want
yeah,
it.
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm pretty laid back, and so the second thing is just the whole disrespect, man. It's no need for that. We don't have to disrespect one another. If you have differences, let's have differences and agree to disagree and move on. Right. Don't let it linger. Like life is too short for all of that stuff. And so I think those are the 2 things that have been some of the foulest things that I've seen.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I
Yes,
will say
sir.
this, man. Chip, you are definitely laid back, and it's almost, I'm so glad. I've been following you for a while, right? I've been
Hmm.
following you for a while. So getting to, and then I got the chance when you came to our district and did some of our leadership stuff for us. I got the chance to
Yes,
meet you in
sir.
person for the first time, and I love, man, I love your spirit. You got a very inviting spirit,
Thank you,
but at the
man.
same
Thank you,
time,
coach.
you being a former linebacker,
Yeah, I'm
like, hey,
about that
listen,
life. I
you
can
know,
bring it if I need to.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think, man, I see a very good balance of that in you.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
see a very good balance of that in you. And that, man, that right there, Chip, everybody don't have that. And when I talk about
Yes,
everybody,
sir.
I'm talking about me.
I
I'm
love it.
talking about me, and that's one of my areas for growth. But at the same time, and for those of you who may be watching or listening, man, God made you who you are, right?
Come
Continue
on.
to grow. You're the way you are for a reason, but
Yes,
continue to
sir.
continue to grow. God didn't make me Chip, right? He didn't make Chip
Yeah.
me, but we can still
Hmm.
continue to learn and grow from each other. All right, Chip. This brings us to and one.
Got
One
you.
thing And this can be anything
Yes,
that you
sir.
would like to share before we exit. So what do you have for and one?
This being the coaches co-op, podcast, us being in a book together, the path for coaches mentoring. I just think that coaching is a great profession. You
Yes, it
know, I
is.
I've man, in my life, like the people that have made such a huge difference in my life have been coaches, right? And they've come in all forms. I just spoke sport coaches, but they coaches that come in all forms and mentors. And so, I've strived. Um, once I found that, like, man, some of the things I've learned, I can use it to help others, right? So I've strived to give that to others as well, and just the relationships, the bonds, the camaraderie, the memories, the moments, the magic moments, because magic moments make magic memories, right?
That's I
Just
love that.
all, yeah, all of those things that come along with it. It just boils down to being a great team and striving to be a great teammate. And so this is an amazing profession. And then, I even go a step further. I've seen, those people that are in business that were a part of teams, you know, they are successful, right? I've seen people
Right.
that are in faith leadership that were a part of teams previously, they are successful, right? And so, um, which brings the importance too of what we do, right? So every day it's important that we are intentional about making a positive difference, because it changes the world in a better way.
Man, Chip, that's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug. I'm gonna follow you, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a plug for our profession. Listen, if
Yes,
you are
sir.
watching and listening, or like the preachers say, everyone under the sound of my voice.
Wow.
Um, there are some of you who
Come
have been
on.
considering coming into the profession.
Yeah.
And listen, the harvest, I'm gonna just go on and stick with this biblical theme. Listen, the harvest is plentiful, the workers are few. Our
Mhm.
profession is great. Now, I would be remiss if I told you that what we do is not difficult at times.
It's
We
hard.
it's hard. What we do is
It's
hard, but
hard.
we run to the fire.
Come
That's
on.
what we do. We run to the fire. So if you know
Mm.
deep down in your spirit that you're one of those people who run to the fire, our profession needs you. We need you in classrooms. We need you on bus rides. We need you in locker rooms. We need you not coaching your sport, but we need you coaching people.
Mhm.
We need you coaching people, and the sport is your vehicle. Chip, man, this has been 1000% excellence. I gotta
Thank you,
put
coach.
your tagline on the
Yes,
screen.
sir.
All right,
Yes,
listen.
sir.
Thank you for joining us here on the Coaches Co-op. Big thanks to our guest, Chip Baker of the Success Chronicles, for sharing his journey and his wisdom. Chip, we got to bring you back. We
I
definitely
mean,
got to.
anytime you need me, coach, I'm ready to go. And again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for what you do. Been following you for a while. Love what you do and love what you're about. So it was an
Thank
honor
you.
to be here and hang out with you. Just kick it with you.
That's it. The honor is mine. Listen, if you are walking away with new insight or new energy for your team or your program or your life, then we have done our job. So, what we need you to do is hit that like button, follow, subscribe. Make sure you plug in with Chip Baker at the Success Chronicles on YouTube. Make sure you go and check him out. Buy the book, The Path for Coaches. And remember, here's the book one more time. Remember, at the co-op, coaches do what most people can't. Chip, I'm going to let you go ahead and read your tagline, and then we're going to be out of here. But just hang back with me for a second while I
Yes,
play
sir.
our outro music. You
All
got it, Chip.
right.
Go ahead and read that tagline for us.
Yes, sir. Live, learn, serve, inspire. Go get it.
Y'all heard the man. Go
Let's
get it.
go.
For Chip Baker, I'm Coach P. Until next time, y'all stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay blessed and you don't have to get blessed. All right, y'all. Peace.